In this video, we're going to talk about how to validate someone. When we are feeling hurt or when we are listening to someone about maybe a problem that they're having, sometimes if we don't offer validation and instead maybe say, oh yeah, me too, and this is how this happened, and I totally get it because of this, it makes someone feel unheard. So we're going to go through the steps of what you would need to do to make sure that the person that you care about feels like you're listening to them and they feel validated, which is really important for creating a good connection with people. So I'm going to kind of look up and down a little bit because there's quite a few steps in this. I want to make sure that I get them right. But the first step is to pay attention. So when we're paying attention to someone, that means that we are not listening with this in our hand. Man, that is hard. We do this a lot. And even though we can do this and listen at the same time, the person you're talking to probably doesn't feel like you're listening to them if this is in your hand. So if somebody comes to you with a problem, try putting it down. So we're going to put our phones down. That's the biggest thing that gets in the way. Or if you're reading a book or if you're watching a show, put it on pause. We can resume that later because that TV show is always going to be there. But the relationship can be hurt if we don't engage with it in those really important times when somebody needs you. So the first thing you're going to do is pay attention. We're going to listen. And we're not listening to respond. We're just going to listen and really hear what they have to say. If you struggle with this, a way that you can do it is whatever they're saying, replay it in your mind. So if they say, my cat fell out of the tree, instead of thinking, oh, well, don't let your cat out. That's obviously not going to come out of your mouth, but let's say your thought is, don't let your cat out. Instead of having that thought, just repeat in your head, their cat fell out of the tree. And that way you're listening just to listen and not listening to respond. And you're going to observe them. Observe their body language. If they say, my cat fell out of the tree, well, they might think it's funny. Or if they say, my cat fell out of the tree, then you know that they're worried. Or if they say, my cat fell out of the tree today, then you can see that they're kind of angry. Their facial expressions say that they're angry. So pay attention not just to the words, but the body language and the way that they're saying it, their tone. You're going to really pay attention to that. Make sure that you're making good eye contact. Because if we're looking at this, we're not making good eye contact. So make sure that you're putting your phones down. A good way to make sure that you are doing a good job of listening is every once in a while, repeat back to them what they've said. So if they say, my cat fell out of the tree today and I'm so worried and I had to leave and I don't know what's happening and I'm not going to be able to talk to my parents for quite a few days and I just don't know what's going to happen with my cat. If you're being a good active listener, then you have been looking at them, you're showing concern, you're looking at their body language, you can see maybe they're scared. So you might reflect back to them. It's really scary when your cat fell out of the tree and you don't have any way to find out exactly what's happening until you get back home. So that's a really great way to reflect back to them what they were saying. They'll know that you were listening and that you get them, that you understand them. Sometimes, if people have a hard time expressing themselves, we have to do a little bit of what we would call mind reading. We're not really mind reading. Nobody has that. We don't have a crystal ball, and unless somebody here is a superhero and has mind reading techniques, and if you do, please call me and tell me how to do it. That we can't really read minds, but what we can do is we'll watch them for body language. We're looking for facial expressions. Are they mad about it? Are they scared about it? Are they worried? Are they flabbergasted? The cat fell out of the tree. Like surprised by it. So be paying attention for that body language. Are they arms crossed? Do they have an open posture where where their hands are out in some way? I know this looks a little weird because of the video, but are they open posture? Or have they closed themselves off? Are they not making eye contact with you while they're saying that their cat fell out of the tree? Those are all hints for you to recognize maybe what's really going on, even if they're not being able to say what's going on. The other piece of it, the next step, is to just show that you understand. And by showing that you understand, maybe they haven't said how they feel, but maybe you can say, that sounds really scary. And that shows that you understand. Or based on what you've seen in their facial expressions, that was really surprising for your cat to fall out of the tree. I bet you didn't expect that. So that way that they know that you do understand them. And then you're going to acknowledge what is valid. So maybe they're thinking that their cat's really hurt and that they might never see their cat again. But right now that's just a thought. It's not necessarily the truth. So we don't want to validate, yeah, you probably won't ever see your cat again. Instead, you might want to validate by saying, right now it is pretty scary not to know what's going on. Maybe we can check in and make a phone call, or maybe somebody can ask your parents to leave a message with us to give us an update on the cat. And that way you don't have to make any assumptions about whether the cat's okay, and we'll know better after we get some information. So this way we're only going to acknowledge what is valid. We're not going to acknowledge and validate a thought that we have no idea whether it could be true or not, because then it becomes true for that person. And then we're going to show equality. So we're not going to say to them, yeah, my cat fell out of the tree last year, it was fine. Or, well, how high up was your cat when it fell out of the tree? My cat was really high up in the tree when it fell out of the tree. Because that feels like we're getting one-upped, and we don't feel like what we're going through right here in this moment, my cat falling out of the tree, I don't feel like you really understand me or how I'm feeling if you're comparing it to your experience, because every experience is different. So make sure that you avoid one-upping or one-downing or diminishing, making their problem seem smaller than it is. You also want to make sure that you don't make it bigger than it is either. Okay? So try validating somebody this week and just being there for them. Make sure that they know that you're hearing them and that you care. And try that skill out.